Picture this. You come home after a long day, drop your bag, and your dog is right there. But something feels different. The tail sits lower than usual, the eyes soften in a way you can't quite read, and you get that familiar tug in your chest that says your buddy's trying to communicate something subtle. Most people spot the big, dramatic signs of fear, but stress hides in tiny moments we walk right past. If you're trying to get better at reading your dog's mood, stick around. And if this kind of content helps you feel closer to your dog, feel free to tap like or subscribe. Let's break down the 12 signals your dog uses when stress starts building. Number 1. Tucked tail. Picture a moment when your dog suddenly walked into a room, saw something unfamiliar, and that tail slipped downward without warning. Almost every dog owner has witnessed it, and it always sparks that quick internal check. Are you okay? A tucked tail isn't just a generic fear response. A casually low tail usually means your dog is simply relaxed. But when the tail pulls in tight, almost hugging the spine, the body is telling you the emotional volume just turned up. Tail tension is one of the clearest stress gauges dogs have. Confident dogs can still do this in moments of uncertainty, like stepping into a vet's lobby or hearing a loud crash outside. And breed differences matter. A greyhound's naturally low tail reads very differently from a Spitz breed whose tail curls high over the back. Watching for how quickly the tension appears gives you clues about how intense the moment feels for your dog. If you can remember a moment your dog tucked their tail out of nowhere, you already know how fast these signals appear. And the next sign can be even easier to miss because it hides in tiny flashes around the mouth. Number 2. Lip licking outside mealtime. Have you ever noticed your dog give a tiny lick to their lips and wondered what sparked it? That quick, almost invisible tongue flick can feel random, but it often carries meaning. When it happens outside of food or water, it can be your dog working through a moment of uncertainty. A slow, drawn-out lick usually looks like grooming, but that sharp little dart of the tongue is different. It shows up during greetings with strangers, when you're petting a bit too long, or when two dogs are sorting out who's comfortable with what. Researchers have observed this in multi-dog households too. One dog may lip lick when another is crowding their space, using it as a way to keep peace without escalating. Think back to the last time your dog was at the vet or learning a new behavior. Did you catch any of those tiny mouth movements? It feels subtle, almost polite, but it's a real communication tool. And sometimes, when that stress grows, the eyes start giving away even more. Number 3. Whale eye. You know that moment when your dog freezes for half a second, head turned away, but you can still see the white crescent of their eye? It's such a striking visual that once you notice it, you never forget it. That exposed arc of white, often called whale eye, appears when your dog is torn between wanting to look away and still feeling the need to monitor whatever's bothering them. It's a snapshot of mixed emotions, caution, discomfort, or a quiet plea for space. You'll often see it during resource tension, like when a dog is guarding a toy on the couch, or when hands reach in during grooming or nail trims. Groomers report this constantly, especially when a dog is worried but staying still out of politeness. The intensity varies. A mild version might simply mean, "I don't love this," while a sharper, wide-eyed version is closer to, "Please slow down." It's one of the clearest early signals that stress is building before any growling or snapping appears. And once the eyes start showing stress, the rest of the body often follows, sometimes in sudden, surprising ways that even confident dogs experience. Number 4. Excessive shedding. Scientists have documented that dogs can shed more hair within minutes when their bodies release adrenaline. It sounds dramatic, but it's something many owners witness without realizing what kicked it off. You might notice it at the vet, during a first day at a new training class, or even on a car ride if your dog isn't fully comfortable. This isn't the slow, predictable cycle of seasonal shedding. It's almost instant, like the fur is letting go all at once because the body is bracing for something uncertain. Adrenaline tightens certain muscles while loosening the tiny structures that hold hair in place. Handlers in competitive dog sports see this regularly. A dog might look perfectly steady on the outside, then leave a visible fur snowfall on the mat just from the pressure of the environment. If you've ever stepped out of the car and found a layer of your dog's coat on the seat, that may have been stress talking. And interestingly, this physical release often pairs with subtle calming signals your dog uses to steady themselves, which leads right into one of the most common ones you've probably seen without recognizing. Number 5. Yawning. Non-tired. Some yawns are pure stress management tools, not signs of sleepiness. Dogs use them the way people take a slow breath before entering a tough conversation. A stress yawn looks tighter, quicker, and a little more exaggerated than the stretchy bedtime version you're used to seeing. You'll notice it during training when the cues feel confusing, during loud moments at home, or when excitement pushes into overstimulation. Puppies do this even more because their emotional brakes are still developing. Researchers studying canine social signals have found that yawning helps lower arousal levels by briefly resetting the nervous system. It's a way for your dog to steady themselves before tension snowballs into bigger reactions. You might even catch it during obedience sessions when your dog is trying hard but feeling unsure. It's their quiet way of saying, "I'm working through this." Once that inner pressure builds, dogs often look for a way to shake it off, literally. And that next behavior shows how they release the leftover tension. Number 6. Shaking off, like after a bath. Picture your dog finishing an awkward interaction, then suddenly doing that full body shake you usually see after a bath. Water isn't involved, and nothing touched them. Yet the shake happens with the same intensity. That move is your dog's emotional reset button. Researchers studying canine stress responses note that the shake-off helps discharge leftover adrenaline after tense moments, almost like clearing static from the body. You'll see it after play that got a bit too rowdy, after being gently scolded, or right after meeting a new dog when the social pressure felt a little high. It's an efficient way to release tension and slide back into a calmer state. Some dogs even do it the moment they step out of the vet's office, as if they're tossing off the entire experience in one big ripple. Pay attention to the quality of the shake. A loose, happy shake during play carries different energy from a stiff, slightly urgent one after stress. Both communicate something valuable about your dog's inner world. And once that tension clears, many dogs switch to another behavior that's all about movement. But this time, it doesn't stop as quickly. Number 7. Pacing. Have you ever watched your dog walk the same loop across the living room and wondered what they're searching for? Pacing often begins when a dog feels stuck between wanting reassurance and not knowing how to settle. It shows up during quiet moments in the house, when visitors are over, or when a storm shifts the mood in the air. The movement helps them release nervous energy their body doesn't quite know where to put. Studies on canine stress patterns show that repetitive motion, like pacing, can raise and lower with environmental triggers. A bored dog might wander, but a stressed dog moves with a kind of restless rhythm. No sniffing, no pausing, just back and forth as if expecting something to change. If this happens during nighttime, after schedule changes, or when the house feels tense, it can signal emotional overload rather than simple cabin fever. It's also useful to watch for pacing paired with other signs, like lip licking or vocalizing. Patterns over a week reveal more than any one moment can. And as you start noticing these bigger movements, the next clue often appears in much smaller places, especially around the face, where stress can tighten everything in an instant. Number 8. Ears pulled back tight. Stress can reshape a dog's entire expression in seconds, and the ears are often the first giveaway. When ears pull back tightly, it isn't just a cute, bashful look. That tension usually signals your dog is reading the room and feeling pressure they're not sure how to handle. Soft, relaxed ears melt backward with gentle curves. Stressed ears pin back with a firmer, more deliberate pull, and you'll often see the rest of the posture follow: lowered head, slow movements, careful glances. Floppy-eared dogs express this differently. Instead of a dramatic fold, their ear bases shift back, almost as if someone lightly tugged them. Breeds with upright ears show it even more clearly, almost creating a pulled open look around the face. Behavior researchers explain that ear position plays a big role in social communication. Dogs use it to show uncertainty, deference, or a request for space. You might catch this look most around unfamiliar children, new guests, or moments when interactions feel too intense. It's your dog saying, "I'm trying to be polite, but this is a lot." And when stress lingers, ears aren't the only thing that changes. But what happens when stress reaches a point where even food doesn't feel comforting? Number 9. Reduced appetite. Studies have shown that stress can temporarily shut down a dog's appetite, even in dogs who normally act like living vacuum cleaners. It surprises many owners because food is such a powerful motivator. But stress shifts the body into a state where eating doesn't feel essential. A dog might sniff the bowl, take a slow bite, or walk away completely during loud events, travel, or big household changes. Slow eating can signal mild worry, while skipping meals altogether suggests the stress is hitting harder. Veterinarians often note this during boarding stays or after major routine disruptions. The challenge is telling stress apart from illness, since both can affect appetite. A helpful clue is timing. If your dog eats less only during specific situations, like guests visiting or when you're packing for a trip, it often reflects emotional overload rather than physical sickness. But if food refusal lasts more than a day, especially with other symptoms, it's worth checking in with a professional to rule out medical causes. Dogs who lose interest in food during stress withdraw inward, almost like they're conserving emotional energy. And when that inner pressure pushes them to seek escape instead of engagement, they often shift into another behavior entirely, removing themselves from the situation, or even hiding. Number 10. Avoidance or hiding. Have you ever noticed your dog quietly slip out of the room, almost like they vanished on purpose? That small disappearance often carries more meaning than people realize. Avoidance is one of the most honest stress signals dogs use. When a dog walks away during petting or shifts behind furniture during busy moments, they're choosing the safest option they have: space. It isn't stubbornness, it's protection. Behavior researchers often describe avoidance as pressure relief. When social energy rises too high, big family gatherings, loud conversations, unfamiliar guests, your dog may head to another room, because stepping back feels easier than holding their ground. Some dogs pause at doorways, almost checking if they can rejoin without being overwhelmed. Others make a clean getaway to their bed, the hallway, or your favorite closet spot they've unofficially claimed. You can support them by giving quiet space without making the moment feel dramatic. Gentle distance teaches them they can retreat without fear of being pursued. Over time, that builds trust and confidence because they feel heard. And when a dog doesn't feel like they can slip away, that bottled-up stress often spills into sound, raising a completely different signal you might already recognize. Number 11. Excessive vocalization, whining or barking. Sometimes the loudest dogs are the ones feeling the most overwhelmed. Whining, barking, or that restless mix of both often starts long before a situation becomes truly stressful. It isn't random noise or a dog being dramatic. Vocalizing can be your dog's version of saying, "I don't know what to do with this feeling." You'll notice it when they anticipate something confusing, like when you pick up your keys but don't leave, or when the household energy suddenly shifts. Researchers studying separation anxiety patterns often highlight how vocalization increases when predictability decreases. A worried dog might whine while pacing, bark at shadows near the window, or switch between quiet and loud bursts as their stress rises and falls. Vocal breeds can sound even more intense because their natural volume amplifies emotional signals. Watching the pattern matters more than the volume changes in tone, rhythm, or frequency tell you far more about your dog's emotional state than any single bark. Understanding this helps you respond with clarity instead of frustration. It's communication, not misbehavior. And when that communication goes unheard for too long, some dogs shift into a different coping method. One that shows up in teeth marks, shredded objects, and sudden bursts of destructive behavior. Number 12. Sudden destructive behavior. You've probably walked into a room, spotted a chewed corner of a pillow, and wondered what flipped the switch. That sudden burst of destruction can feel mysterious, especially in dogs who don't normally chew things they shouldn't. Stress is often the hidden spark. When emotions run high, some dogs redirect that tension into their mouths because chewing releases dopamine, a chemical that briefly soothes the nervous system. It's their way of creating control in a moment that feels unpredictable. There's a difference between the curious, playful chewing you see in puppies and the targeted destruction that appears during stressful transitions. Moving to a new house, schedule changes, or your absence during certain parts of the day can all push a dog to search for relief. Many owners notice patterns: the same object, the same room, the same time. Those patterns map directly to moments of emotional overload. Offering safe chew outlets, supervised enrichment, or calming routines can help shift that urge to healthier places. Chew stations, food puzzles, and structured downtime give your dog a way to release tension without turning your couch into confetti. You've probably noticed that as we walked through these signals, a few of them reminded you of moments you've seen in your own dog. That recognition matters. It means you're already tuned in, already paying attention, already building the kind of relationship where your dog feels understood. Stress signals aren't random quirks. They're a communication system your dog relies on every day. And most of the time, they don't appear alone. A tucked tail might come with lip licking. A yawn might lead to pacing. These little clues stack together, giving you a clearer picture of what your dog feels before emotions spill over. Catching these signs early protects your dog, but it also strengthens your bond. When you respond with patience, space, or comfort, you show them their voice matters. And that trust pays off in calmer routines, smoother training, and a deeper connection that grows over years. I'd love to hear from you. Which stress signal does your dog show most often, and how do they usually try to communicate discomfort?